Okay, so this question right here is saying, this is the one, this is learning target number 7. This is the one I told you that I'm going to be very picky about how I want it done. A copy machine copies 1,200 papers in 12 minutes. Is that my fake ratio, guys?
Yes.
That is my fake ratio. Okay, how many papers would it copy in 18 minutes? Use unit rate to determine the unknown. Now if we look through our results here, we see that the majority of you said 1,800, but we had a couple. Now this person, I'm thinking, just maybe had an extra 0 because, but still, we can't make those errors. Those are the errors we've got to clean up. You can use a calculator. We shouldn't be making those mistakes. And for the one person that put 100, you're reading it incorrectly. So remember, this is the one where there's an unknown. Okay? Yeah, unit rate's involved. When you find unit rate, yeah, you're going to put 1 there, right? You're obviously going to put your papers to minutes, your labels, papers to minutes. You're going to put your fake ratio of 1,200 papers in 12 minutes. You're going to cross multiply and divide, or just know you're dividing by 12. You're going to get 100. For that one person that put 100, yeah, that is the unit rate. But that's not what the question's asking. This is why you got to be real careful readers. Okay? It's not asking for how many papers would it copy per minute. It's asking for how many papers would it be able to copy in 18 minutes. But you must use this to solve. So that means then we're going to have a second proportion that looks like this. We're going to take that unit rate, but now we're going to put 18 minutes on there. And then you can see that we'd be multiplying by 18. We'd be multiplying by 18 to both top and bottom. That would give us 1,800. Okay? No sense for the person that missed that at 18,000 to miss this. You shouldn't be making that mistake. That's just a silly mistake, a rushing mistake. Okay? For the person that left it as 100, you just read it. You didn't read it. You just saw me highlight the use unit rate. You said, oh, this must be a unit rate question. We've got to make sure we're reading it carefully. Okay? Now, the other way that I'll accept this, and I've showed you this before, I showed you this in all my other videos, is if you wrote it like this, and you did your unit rate proportion, like this, and like you put this, and then you did 1, then you did 100, and then instead of drawing the line, you just went ahead and did another one like this, papers to minutes, and then you did 18 here, and then times 18 times 18. I just want to show you what we're doing. Okay? So this is your first proportion here. Okay? Well, we have that proportion right there. Would you guys agree with that? The only difference between these two is here I rewrote the entire unit rate and then I did a separate proportion. Well, this one, what I did is I just borrowed that one so I didn't have to rewrite it. But is it the same thing, guys? It's the exact same thing. I am completely fine with you either or. But we're going to use unit rate, so we're going to figure out how many papers per minute in that situation. So, all right, guys. So on this one, everybody got it right. The only reason there's 2 bars is because one says 0.37, the other one just says 0.37. I would accept both. I'm good with either one. Both of them are 37 cents. Just to show you how to do this, just to make sure we're all clear, I have right here, remember when it's unit price, money has to go on the top. Money has to go on the top. That means whatever the object is, in this case kiwis, goes on the bottom. We want to figure out 1 kiwi. So we just do our fake ratio, which is $1.85 for every 5 kiwis. You can cross multiply and divide, or just divide 5 to both top and bottom. You would get 37 cents. So we'll go ahead and put that in there, 0.37. Okay. Now, what I want everybody to do is now we're going to do this. Oops. Okay, don't mind it. I'll show you. I'll highlight it when I'm done here. Hang on. Okay, I want you to try this, and I want to do 7 plums. So I want everybody, I'll highlight in yellow what I want you to do. Go. Now, everybody stop and look, please. Stop and look. I'm going to pull up the thing here. Now you're going to see 3 bars. Now, this is a little bit disappointing because a few people had it. Now, all 3 of these bars are going to come up correct. But I can tell you right now that at this middle bar, these 2 people right here would be wrong on the test. Okay? Now, I know that your calculator, when you do this, when you set all this up, and you have it all set up. So you have, of course, money's on top. You put $2.80. You put 7 plums. You put 1 plum there because that's unit price. Divide 7, divide 7. I know that when you do that, your calculator gives you 0.4. I know that. Okay? And I know that 0.4 is the same thing as 0.40, which is the same thing as 0.40. But you guys got to understand, when it comes to money, we always take money to 2 decimal places. Always. It's not an option. If you leave it as that on the test tomorrow, it will be incorrect. Does everybody understand me? It will be wrong. Okay? You always, that is not 4 cents. That is 40 cents. 4 dimes. You must have the 0 on there. If you do not do it, it will be wrong. Okay? Now, so I'll leave this up here so you guys can see. Now what I want you to do is I want to know the total price if I were to buy 3 kiwis and 4 plums. I want to know what the cost would be. We're going to use this unit price here to help us figure that out. Okay? So this one here, to pull up the answers real quick, we have a relatively easy skill, and yet we had one person miss it, one person mistype it. Now that's okay. But this is what's a little bit frustrating, guys. Everybody in this room, everybody in all my classes knows how to add and multiply decimals, right? You all know how to do it. But do you make mistakes from time to time? Yes. And that's fine. When I start seeing you guys over to the side, okay, $2, or not $2, but 40 cents times 3 or times 4, and I see you doing this, this is fine if you want to do this. But please just quickly check it in your calculator tomorrow. I don't want you to miss points because you made a silly mistake. Silly errors are like the most frustrating thing ever. So I saw some of you doing this as I was walking around. Put the lid on the marker. Okay. I see some people just simply taking the unit price and doing like 0.37, so 37 cents times 3. Like I see you doing that. And that's fine. I mean, that's fine if that's how you want to do it. Proportions are not required on this. But I just like to keep everything, all my thoughts clear. So I know that it is 37 cents, money still on top, per kiwi. Now I want to know the cost of 3 kiwis. And, you know, now I know that I'd just be multiplying by 3 to both top and bottom. Or you could cross multiply and then divide. Either way. Either way, what are you going to get here? $1.11? Is that right? $1.11. Now for plums, I know that it costs 40 cents per plum. So if I want to buy 4 plums, then there we go. Times 4 times 4. This is going to give me $1.60. Now all I'm doing is adding. And like I said, if you want to go off to the side of your paper and do 160 plus 111 like that, you would get $2.71. But just do me a favor. Please just check it in your calculator tomorrow. Don't miss points because you just added wrong, because you guys are all capable of adding correctly. But mistakes happen. Alright? Okay, I would like everybody right now to just do letter A there. Alright guys, so this one you were just simply supposed to find the ratio, so see how we did? My goodness, guys. I mean, that should be, I mean, these should be the ones that are the easy ones. I mean, this is just reading questions, guys. Oh. I mean, nobody in this room should be missing. We've been doing these right here for like 2 months. 2 months you've been doing ratios, and that doesn't even include what you did last year. You already know how to do this coming in, or you should have. Guys, it is all reading, and it is all just making sure you know or putting down the information that you know. If you can't even do this, I can promise you're going to get the questions wrong below. Okay, so you got to be able to read it. We shouldn't have that many people missing it. Okay, there are red and blue marbles in a bag. Okay, the ratio of red to total is 5 to 12. So let's put what we know. We know there are 5 red. We know that there are 12 total. Are we done? We know there are 12 total. Well, if I wanted to draw out these marbles at 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay? And I know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are red. Then what are the remaining marbles? They must be blue. So that would mean 7 blues. Whenever you know the total, you're going to subtract 12 minus 5. Okay? Now it's just reading, guys. That's all it is. And to have this many people missing them, 5 to 12, that's what they told us up here. That was the ratio of red to total. I wouldn't give you red to total and then ask for red to total, would I? Okay? Over here we have just 7. Now, I'm assuming that was just a mistype, I think, maybe. And then we had 7 to 5. You got to be careful when you're doing these, guys. If it says red to blue and red comes first, then you got to put however many reds there are first. So 5 to 7. Or as you guys will put in your clicker, in fraction form. Okay? So, now that we know that, I want to go down here and I want you to do this letter C there. Okay? Go ahead and do that one on your own. Make sure you put your labels on first. So this one here, you can see the results. I'm not sure where those came from. Okay? Again, watch how I do this. Watch how I break it down for you guys. Take my advice on how to set this up. So I start with my proportion. Now, I'm going to go to my real information. Usually the real information is going to start with if and then ask some sort of question. So in this case, it's giving us one piece and then it's asking us for a piece. So what did it give us? It gave us that there are 56 blue marbles. So do I know that blue is going to be one of my labels? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on there, blue and blue. Then what's it asking for? Total. So I know that those are the two labels. I don't see red anywhere in here. So the only ratio that I'm going to be worrying about is blue to total. Now the ratio on the left, that comes from my edge pieces. Okay, that's why I always do it yellow. These are the same thing, fake information. Okay, my ratio of blue to total would be 7 to 12. Okay, those of you that had 7 to 5 or 5 to 7 or whatever you did, you're just not reading it very carefully, guys. That's what I'm trying to tell you is this chapter it's so much about reading and just being very careful as you read through it. It's more reading than maybe even math, quite frankly. Okay? That's my fake information. I knew that it was blue to total because it says blue. It asked me for total. I know I'm going to get my ratio from here. I know blue to total 7 to 12. Now I just look. What did it give me? It gave me 56 there. Now I can either tell that I'm just multiplying by 8 to both top and bottom, or I could cross multiply and divide by 7. Okay, either way, I'm going to get 96, and that's your answer. For the people that put 40, you're doing blue to red, I think, and I'm not sure why, because it says red nowhere in there. Okay? Okay? This is learning target 5 and 6. I would advise going back and watching the 5 and 6 video if you want extra practice on that, because that's quite a few people to miss something that I feel like is maybe I think it's one of the easier things on this chapter, I think. Okay? Alright. Alright. So, we know, don't start working without me yet. Okay? This is all fake information up here, right guys? Mm-hmm. That's what this is. That's why this is kind of setting the stage. So Quentin makes the best mac and cheese. His recipe serves 32 people. It calls for 12 bags of cheddar cheese, 8 bags of mozzarella cheese, and 16 bags of noodles. Okay? But the problem is he doesn't want to spend all the money to serve 32 people if he only has 24 people over. So, this right here, this is how we'll do this. This would be, we'll do it just like we're going to see it on the Summative tomorrow. This is going to be our people. This will be our CC cheddar cheese. This will be our mozzarella cheese. And this will be our noodles. Okay? Obviously, the first one's going to have all your fake information. So, we know that his recipe is 32 people, and it's going to be 12 bags of cheddar cheese, 8 bags of mozzarella, and 16 bags of noodles. Now, what does he want to know? Well, he wants to know, well, what if I have to serve 24 people? So, here's the deal. You can't go straight from 32 to 24, right? So this is where you've got to use scaling to right there. Okay? When you get done, listen, I want you to put that into your clicker. Okay, that's the one I want you to put in your clicker.
But
But fill in the whole table.
cheddar cheese.
Yeah, cheddar cheese.
Oh, my
All right, guys. So we got a bunch of you putting 9. We got a bunch of you putting 8. So I'm not sure where that came
Oh, I
from.
know, because you highlighted the one that had 8 in it.
Basic instructions,
I'm
guys.
just gonna do that.
Okay, this is where we scale. Okay, this is where we scale. Remember, the whole goal of scaling is to use either a GCF or an LCM. Now, since there's such large numbers, I probably wouldn't advise you to use LCM in this case. But yeah, I mean, if you want to come off to the side and do your trees of 32 and 24, and then stack them up and get the GCF, that's great. You would have learned that the GCF is definitely 8. Then you would know, okay, what am I doing to my number of people then?
Dividing by 4.
I'm dividing them by 4. So if I'm dividing my people by 4, that means I have to divide all my ingredients by 4, right? So that's going to mean if I were serving 8 people, I'm not, but that's just going to help me get back to 24. If I were serving 8 people, I would need 3 bags of cheddar cheese, I would need 2 bags of mozzarella cheese, and I would only need 4 bags of noodles. That makes sense, right? Less people, less ingredients. Okay? Well, now I'm going to go to 24. So I know I'd be multiplying by 3 to each ingredient. That's going to be 9 bags of cheddar cheese, 6 bags of mozzarella cheese, and 12 packages of noodle. Okay? Now, let's say you did it differently. Because there's more than one way to do this. Okay? It doesn't always have to be the GCF. There's different ways you can do it. I could have used 4. Can 32 become 4? Can 4 become 24?
Yes.
Sure, you could have done it that way. Divide 8. You would have just gotten a decimal here, I think. And it would be, it doesn't matter. You can still, it's okay if you get a decimal though. I saw some people putting 2. They recognized, oh, they're both even, so I'm just going to divide by 2. Or I mean, not divide by 2, but I'm going to make it 2. Figure out if it's just Quentin and his girlfriend eating the mac and cheese, then we can just figure out, okay, I'd be dividing by 16. So I'm going to do that to every ingredient. So yeah, I'll have 0.75 bags of cheddar cheese. Is that possible?
Yes.
Can you dump in just 0.75 bag of cheese?
Yes.
Sure. Doesn't have to be the whole bag. It could be a partial bag. Here we're going to do 8 divided by 16. That's going to be 0.5. Just a half a bag of mozzarella. Here I'm going to do 16 divided by 16. That's going to be 1 bag of noodles. Okay? And then times 12 times 12 times 12. It doesn't matter. Does everybody understand that? Best one though, guys, when you get to this question and you know it's going to be on the summative and it's going to be vegetables, it's going to be like broccoli and Brussels sprouts. I'll just be honest with you and tell you what it is. It's best to use the GCF. Okay? Just trust me on that. Okay? All right. Now, this question will be on the summative tomorrow. Maybe different numbers. Maybe it's not band class. Maybe it's math class. Maybe it's gym class. It might be. Who knows? On the formative, it was academic lab. There was one that talked about Mrs. Teliak's cats. Remember?
Yes.
You're prepared. This is the easiest question on the test after you understand it. So everybody stop what you're doing and listen. Watch. Right there is my what?
Fake ratio.
That's my ratio or my fake ratio. Absolutely. Now, I know that in this band class there are 24 girls for every 18 boys. Does everybody agree?
Yeah, but
Okay. If I'm going to add people to the roster, let's see what happens. Now, be careful. On this one, I actually didn't mean to do this, but I think it's like this on the summative. Notice how I put boys first or second there, and I put it first there.
Yeah.
You got to be real careful readers. Okay, you got to make sure boys are with boys. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to add. I'm going to add my four. Whoops. I'm going to add my 3 girls there. So how many girls am I going to have in band now?
27.
I'm going to have 27 girls. How many boys am I going to add?
Plus 4.
I'm going to add 4 boys. How many am I going to have?
22.
22 boys. Okay? So, you know that there are 3 ways to check for equivalency. Actually, there's 4. Remember the big 3 and the little 4th. This is chapter 4 stuff, checking for equivalency. What is one way that I can check for equivalency? Lily?
you multiply like across.
I can cross products, so I can multiply them diagonally. 18 times 27, I don't know what that gives me. 486. Okay, what's 22 times 24?
528.
Okay, 528. So far, is this yes or no?
No.
Absolutely no. What's another way that I can check for equivalency? Yes? I can divide them because all ratios are division problems. 24 divided by 18, what is that?
1 in
1 point.
30.
Yeah.
3 repeating.
Yeah.
Okay, and this one over here becomes like 1.22 something.
233.
2, 3, fine. Regardless, are they the same?
No.
No, they're not. Okay? You can also simplify them. This one is actually already in simplest form. This one would end up becoming
3.
8.
8, 4, 3.
Oh, no,
8.
6 would be 4 to 3. It would be a 4 to 3 ratio. Everybody got that?
Yep.
All right. So, obviously this would be absolutely no. Very easy there on that one. Okay? All right. The cost of 5 tickets to the Old Tangy versus Old Tangy Orange game is $20. Okay, is that a fake ratio?
Yes.
So when I'm filling out my table, can I start with that? Absolutely. I know that, okay, that's going to be 5 tickets. That's going to be 5 tickets, and that's going to cost $20. Okay. Complete the table to determine 1, 2, and 4 tickets. So maybe 1, 2, and then let's just add on another row here, right? And that's going to be 4 tickets. Okay? So however you want to do this, you can just look at it and say, okay, what would I be doing to my number of tickets here?
Multiplying
Divided by 5.
sorry.
So what do I got to do here? So isn't that the unit rate, $4 per ticket?
Yeah.
Okay, what am I doing to go from 1 ticket to 2 tickets?
Multiply by 2.
That'd be $8, right? What am I doing to go from 2 tickets to 4 tickets?
Divide times 2.
16. Now, your ordered pair, that's going to be 520, right? That's going to be 14.
2,
That's
8.
going to be 28
4, 16.
and 416. Right there, that's all you have to do. It's very, very, very simple. Okay? Now, you have to plot those. Okay? So you got to understand the x is always the horizontal axis, so this one. This is always the y. You probably, it says it right here in B, you must label your x and y axis. So we know that x's are the number of tickets, so we would put number of ticks. Over here we'd put cost. Okay? Now we're just going to plot those points. So, over 1 up to 4. Over 2 up to, is that 8? Over to 4 up to 16, I think it's right there. And then you really don't even need to plot 520. I mean, you wouldn't even have to put 520 on here, but I think it's easier to see. But if you wanted to, it would be right there. What do you have to do on this though? You must draw a line through it. If you don't, it will not be correct. You will lose points. So, yeah, it should look like this. Okay? Now, that's the easy part, or that's the hard part, I mean. Now, all you got to do is describe the pattern of the graph. Guys, all I'm looking for here is, it's a constant rate of change. And because every ratio in here is equivalent, because it's a ratio table, it has to be constant, right? You can't all of a sudden, look, I can't all of a sudden have 9 tickets for $3. Can I ever have that?
No.
No, because we know that every ticket is $4. So that means for every 1 ticket, it's going up by 4. So that's why I can figure out if I want to buy 6 tickets, I can go straight up here, and I can see how much money it's going to be. However much money that is, it's $24. Everybody got that? So a constant rate of change. So everybody listen. Matt Hall takes basketball lessons from Sammy Brown every summer. He took 12 lessons last week and paid $90. That's obviously my fake ratio. Okay? At this rate, how much would it cost him to take 18 lessons this summer, 18 more lessons this summer? Well, if you know this is the fake information, and you know this is the real information, if we were doing a proportion, wouldn't it just look like this, guys? Lessons to money, lessons to money, and your fake would be 12 lessons for $90, and your real information would be 18 lessons, and then cross multiply and divide, right?
Yeah.
Now that's a perfect way to check on your test, and I would advise you to do that method just to make sure. But you've got to fill out the table, so you've got to use what's called scaling. And scaling is when you look for a GCF, or just a CF really, or in some cases an LCM. It doesn't matter. You guys the LCM of 12 and 18 is 36. You could do that too. You could, 36. So you could do that. You could have used a factor of 2 because they're both even. You could have used a factor of 6. Okay, there's a lot of options. You could have used 1. Okay, there's so many things you could use, but I would always say use the GCF or the LCM when you're scaling. So what is the greatest common factor of 12 and 18? What is the greatest common factor of 12 and 18? It is 6. Now the key is understanding, what am I doing to my number of lessons? What am I doing to go from 12 lessons to 6 lessons? Yes? I'm dividing by 2. Is that what you said? Oh. Okay, and then so then it makes sense if I'm dividing my number of lessons by 2, wouldn't I divide my amount of money by 2?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's going to be 45. So now I know that based on this information right here, if Matt only wanted to do 6 lessons, it would cost him $45, right? So now, what am I doing to go from 6 lessons to 18 lessons? Lexi?
Multiply by 3.
You multiply it by 3. So if you multiplied your lessons by 3, what do you have to do to your money? Cam? Very good, 135. And if you'd have checked with your proportion, you would have gotten that as well. Okay? Yeah?
I divided by 12 by 6. I forgot 125.
I said that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I said you could use 2 here. That's because they're both even, so obviously both of them can become, they both have a factor of 2, right? You could have used 6, you could have used 1, or you could have used 36, or any multiple of 36 even, okay? LCMs, they're CFs and CMs, common factors and common multiples. Mr. Zinker's truck travels at a speed of 600 miles per hour. I put that in yellow, turn around. I put that in yellow because that is the fake ratio. Fake ratio, okay? How far would he travel in 12 hours? Well, that's the real information. You're either going to be given a certain amount of hours or a certain amount of miles. Okay, we were given a number of hours. So what we have to do is we have to do 2 different proportions. First of all, it says use unit rate to solve. This is learning target number 7, guys. If you do not follow these instructions right there, Tyler, please pay attention. If you do not follow these instructions right there, then you won't get full credit on it. You won't get any credit on it, actually. Okay? In order to figure out how far I would travel in 12 hours, doesn't it make sense that we figure out how far he would travel in 1 hour? And we know that 1 always goes there, so we know we're talking about 1 hour. So miles on top, hours on the bottom. I know that my fake ratio is 600 miles in 8 hours. I know then I can be dividing by 8, and dividing by 8, that's going to give me what? 75 miles per hour, right?
Yeah.
Then I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it here per hour because I know that it's 75 miles per hour. Now I want to figure out, well then how far did I travel in 12 hours? Times 12 times 12. Or you could cross multiply and divide. Either way you get 900. Now that's one way to do it. The other way that you can do it I'm fine with is if you do this. If you write your fake ratio out like this, and then you figure out the unit rate, and then you do this, like this, okay? You can see that we are dividing by 8 here, dividing by 8 here, and then I just used that unit rate again and did times 12 and did 900 miles. So I want you guys to make sure you're understanding this. You see how I did one proportion there, guys? And then I did a second proportion there. Do you guys understand that? Okay. Down here I'm doing the exact same thing. It just looks different. There's my blue proportion. Just like that one, right guys? You see it? But instead of rewriting it as a second proportion, I just borrowed it and I overlapped them. Do you guys understand that?
Yeah.
I am fine with either or. I don't care how you do it as long as you have 2 proportions. Everybody got that?
Yeah.
Okay. This person right here, I think meant to put 0.50, the one all the way to the right. It says 050, so they're actually putting $50. Okay, that didn't make much sense. person that put 2, I think we figured that out. Now, we had one person put 0.5 right there. Do you guys see it right there?
Yeah.
That, even though it's showing up right on here, because 0.5 is the same thing as 0.50, as far as they are the same value. But when we're talking about money, you must put the 0 on there. If you don't, it will be wrong. Okay? It will absolutely be wrong. So, to go over this real quick, we would have a proportion. Okay? Money always goes on top when we're doing unit price, which is the price per one of the object, whatever it is. In this case, it's oranges, so that means oranges goes on the bottom. 1's always been in the bottom right since we started unit rate. Put the lids on the markers while I'm talking. Thank you. My fake ratio is that for $3.50, I can get 7 oranges. And from this step now, I can either cross multiply divide, or I can just know that I'm dividing by 7 to both the top and the bottom. Okay? Everybody got that?
Yeah.
All right. Now, so this is going to be, get rid of this real quick. This is going to be 50 cents. So that's 50 cents right there. Okay? Guys,
Money, if you see 0.5, you have to put a 0 after it makes it 50 cents.
exactly.
Like-
You could, basically, you can put 0.50, or you can put 0.50. That doesn't matter.
Calculator's
Okay.
not going to automatically put that other 0 in.
No. That's what I mean. That's why I did this question, because you've got to add the 0 in there. You did. Now, I went ahead and I gave you the price of both the, well, you guys found the price, the unit price for the oranges. Here's the unit price for oranges, or I'm sorry, pears. I want to know the total price if I wanted to purchase 5 pears and 3 oranges. I want to know the total price. Now, you don't have to use proportions on this, but that's how I've shown you, so I would. Okay, so I'll get this out of the road. You guys put it in when you get it. So, you were asked to figure out what the cost of 5 pears and 3 oranges. That's what you were supposed to do. Now, this is where it sounds crazy to hear a teacher say this, but we want you to use your calculators. We require you to use your calculators. There is absolutely no sense for any one of you to miss any of these just because you accidentally added wrong. Right? You have a calculator sitting right at your desk. If you want to go off to the side and do the multiplication, fine. But please just check it. There's nothing worse than knowing how to do something, but then missing it because you made a small error. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's usually more math than... It's more math than any other subject. So, you could have done a proportion here. Okay? The first way you could do it is you could say, okay, well, I know that the unit price for the pears is 56 cents, and it is 56 cents per pear, and I want to buy 5 pears. Then you cross multiply and divide, and you get $1.50, or $1, what is it?
Yeah,
You
50.
got $1.50.
For this one, this is pears.
Oh, pears?
Oh,
$2.80.
$2.80.
Sorry. That's what might be.
$2.80. Okay?
Putting one dash.
All right, so now we have the other one, which is 50 cents per orange. We want to buy 3 oranges. Times 3 times 3, that would be $1.50. Okay? Then obviously you're going to take the cost of your pears, the cost of your oranges, and you're going to add them together. And I see you guys going off the side of your board and doing this, and like I said, it's fine. I'm fine with that. But please, on the test, go back and quickly type that in your calculator. It'd take you about 8 seconds to type it in, and you would get $4.30. Okay? Now, real quick, the other way you could do this, hold on, is you don't have to do a proportion on this question. Pretty much every other question on the test, you have to use a proportion. This one, not a huge deal if you don't. If you know that the cost of 1 pear is 56 cents, can't you just do 56 times 5? 56 cents, I should say, 0.56. That's exactly what we're doing anyway, right? Times 5 times 5. So the proportion is just a way to kind of get you to thinking, but if that confuses you, don't do it on these, on this particular question. All right? One person put in 4.3 right after we just talked about that the fact that 4.3 is actually wrong. Sure, it comes up right on here, but it's wrong. Money, it goes to 2 decimal places. Dimes and pennies. Okay? All right.
Wait, we had a 1 9
Okay, I would like everybody right now to attempt this, to fill in this table. Okay? Yes, everybody make the table. Go ahead. And then I'll tell you where to go from there. I'm just going to kind of get you started here. It says up at the top, it says the cost of 5 tickets to the Olentangy versus Olentangy Orange game is $20. That is my fake ratio. Okay? So I know that for 5 tickets, it costs how much?
$20.
$20. Now what you have to do is, I'll show you what this says, complete the table to determine the cost of 1 ticket, 2 tickets, and 4 tickets. So we need to put 1, 2, and 4 there. Now you need to basically figure out this stuff here. This is what you need to figure out from there, all that. The cost of 1 ticket, the cost of 2 tickets, and the cost of 4 tickets. Go. Think about this for a second. Everybody look here for a minute. There's 2 ways to do it. Okay, I'm going to get you guys a hint here. Okay, the first way you can do it is you can just look and say, okay, what did I do to go from here to here? Times 4, right? Now that's fine. But let me give you another method. Okay? Think about this for a second. What are you doing to go from 5 tickets to 1 ticket? Wouldn't you be dividing by 5? So what do you need to do to your cost? So what is the cost of 1 ticket? If you can get to that point, that's the unit rate, right? Isn't that the same as doing a proportion where you said, okay, I need to know tickets on bottom, cost on the top? And you say, okay, it's $20 for 5 tickets. So how much does it cost for 1? $4. Everybody understand that? Well, if it's $4 for 1 ticket, how much is it going to be for 2 tickets? Huh? That'd be $8. What would I be doing to go from 2 to 4 tickets? Times 2. So what am I going to do to here?
Times 2.
16. Everybody got that? Now, so your ordered pairs are going to be, turn around please, 1 4, 2 8, 4 16, 5 20, and there we go. And that is your ordered pairs. That is step number 1 on this. Just filling out the table. Okay? As we were just saying, you can see every time you went from your number of tickets to your cost, it was times 4. Okay, that's the 2 ways you could do it. It doesn't really matter which way you think about it. Okay? Now, it says plot the ordered pairs below. Well, in order to plot the ordered pairs, you got to know which one the X and which one the Y is, right? So, you got to go up and see, okay, that's the X's right there, right? This column right here. So that means you need to label your X and Y. So then this is going to be the number of tickets. You don't have to do this, just watch. Over here is going to be the cost. And then you're just going to plot those points. So we had 1 up 4, so over 1 up 4. We have over 2 up 8. We have over 4 up 16. Figure out where 16 is. Is that 4?
Yeah, that's 16.
Right there. And then 520 you could also plot would be right there. And here's the whole point. After you plot those, which you guys already know how to do, there's nothing new about that. We've been doing plotting all year long. Okay? You've got to connect it. If you don't connect it, it will be points off, guys. You must connect all these. And they should connect with a straight line going straight through them. Everybody understand that? So look at the question again up here. I want to make sure everybody's hearing me. So I give you guys all a good chance to get a good grade tomorrow. You had to complete the table. Did we do that?
Yeah.
Okay. You had to plot the ordered pairs below. Did we do that?
Yeah.
Did we label the x and y axis? We did that. Okay, we did everything we needed to do. Now we're on to this question. Describe the pattern in the graph. I'll say it just like I told you guys. It doesn't matter what question is on the summative. If you write constant rate of change or constant whatever, you will get it correct. And the reason that is memorizing, by the way. That's the answer. So when you see this question, that's going to be the answer because these are all equivalent. 1 to 4 is equivalent to 2 to 8, to 4 to 16, to 5 to 20. 6 to 24 is also equivalent. 7 to 28. Aren't all those equal, guys?
Yeah.
If I went anywhere on this line, so if I had a 3 in there, what would 3 be? If I was buying 3 tickets, what would the cost of 3 tickets be? Wouldn't it be $12? So if I did my graph right, I should be able to go to 3 and then up to 12, and it should connect right at the line. Look at it, because it's constant. Every one ticket is going up 4 over one. What?
That's 11.
Okay. Well then, it's a little off because my line's off, but you guys get the point. It should be there, but regardless, it's going to be right on. You guys understand that? For every 1 on the x is 4 on the y. 1 on the x is 4 on the y. Okay? It's a constant rate of change. There is not one person in this room that should miss this question tomorrow. It's right here on the video. It's recording. I've said it twice on the video. And it's going to be the answer on the summative because it's a ratio table. It has to be equivalent. Okay? Okay. Everybody stop and listen. Now, this is learning target number, if I can find it. This is learning target number 6. Okay? This is using, or actually it's number 8, I'm sorry. That's supposed to say 8. This is learning target number 8. Okay? So if this is something that you're struggling with, it's going to be on the test. It's going to look just like this, only it's probably cereal, I assume, or something like that. I don't know. It doesn't matter because it's ounces to pounds. Okay? So you have to figure out which one is the better deal. So whenever it says which store is offering the better deal per ounce, I see some people, as I was just kind of looking around, I see people doing this, like getting confused by like not understanding when we do this. This is when we would do that. Okay? And the reason we do is because, look, we want to know how far he would travel in 12 hours, but we have to use the unit rate. So this one here is the fake ratio. This is the unit rate ratio. And this is the real ratio. Right, guys?
Yes.
That's when you're trying to find an unknown using unit rate. Okay? On this one, it's only unit rate. Okay? Only unit rate. It's all we're trying to accomplish here. Okay? Because we need to figure out who has the better deal per ounce. Okay? So, we need to have a target side, and we need to have a Meyer side. It's obviously going to be 2 proportions, 2 unit rate proportions. One is going to be in the bottom right of both of them. Since it's specifically said per ounce, that means per 1 ounce. So that means ounces must be on the bottom. Ounces on the bottom, ounces on the bottom, which makes money on top, money on top, money on top, money on top. Okay? The fake ratio at Target for this turkey is that the deal is you can get 15 ounces of turkey for $7.93. Okay? The deal at Meijer is that you can get 10 ounces of turkey for $6.10. So from here, now you know that you can do both. I don't care which way you choose. You can just know that you'd be dividing your ounces by 15, so you divide your money by 15. But if you're somebody that maybe gets confused on that, just please cross multiply and divide. So 793 times 1 divided by 15, it gives you 0.528. Does that seem right, guys?
No. Yes.
That's what it gives you. Okay, now, we've got to understand something, guys. On the test, I may have you round. You have got to understand how to round. I can't go over it any more than I have this year. Okay? Money goes to how many places? 2. So that means that's where we're rounding. So this is either going to be 52 cents or it's going to be 53 cents. Okay? You have to look to the number to the right to get that information, to see whether that 2 goes to 3 or stays at 2. Because that number right there is 5 or more, then that 2 is going to go up to 3. So this is going to be 53 cents, so a decimal in front. There we go. And it could be 0.53 as well. Here, I'm dividing by 10, dividing by 10. And when you divide that, you're going to get 0.61 cents. So, which is the better deal? Obviously, the better deal is going to be Target in this situation. That never happens, by the way. But that would be the better deal. Now, if I asked you guys right now to tell me how much cheaper is Target than Meijer, I would have some people tell me 8, or they would tell me 0.8. Are either of those correct?
No.
No, it's 8 cents, which means we need to write it as 0.08. That means 8 pennies, hundredths. Okay? If you just write 8, or if you write 0.8, that's wrong. This one right here is referring to $8. This one right here is referring to 80 cents. That is not correct. That is an 8 cents difference. Just subtract 0.61 minus 0.53. Subtract them, check them in your calculator. Now, this is another one of these learning target number 7s. It's going to be on the test. Okay? There's going to be at least one that I say, okay, that a snowstorm dumped 18 inches in 12 hours. How many would it dump in 20 hours? Now, this is wrong. If you just did this, Caden, quit writing and just listen, bud. Okay? If you did this, and then put 20 there, and then cross multiplied and divided, that's wrong. Okay? Does everybody understand that? Even though that would give you the correct answer, that is how you solve it. If the directions specifically say, I want you to use unit rate to solve, then you have to find unit rate and then solve it. Okay? So this is the situation where you guys have to do this. You have to go in, and you can do this 2 ways. The way that I've showed you both ways. But you need to figure out the unit rate per hour, right? Because we're given a real amount of hours. So I know hours are going to be on the bottom. I know that inches are going to be on top. Inches on top. My fake ratio is that it snows 18 inches in 12 hours. I'm going to divide that by 12. I'm going to divide that by 12. What does that give me? 2.5, right? Okay.
No,
If
1.5.
1.5, sorry. Okay, 1.5. Now, look at how this works. This right here was my fake information, correct? Okay. Then this, I always show my unit rates. I always like to draw them in pink. Okay, so that's my unit rate. So we got fake ratio. We have my unit rate, and that's just because of what this says. I want everybody to understand, if it didn't have what I have highlighted in blue up there, you would not have to do this step. You could have done what I had up here first when I just did 18 over 12. Remember that, guys? Yeah. But if it specifically says use unit rate, then you have to. Now I'm going to take that unit rate, 1.5 inches in 1 hour, and I'm going to do another proportion, only now I'm going to plug in my real information. 20 hours times 20 times 20, that would be 30 inches in 20 hours. So, this is my unit rate. This is my real. Do you guys all understand that? So you basically are writing the unit rate twice, and the real ratio would be right there. Okay, and then your answer is obviously whatever the question is asking. Now, that's not the only way to do this. You can also do it like this. This is the other way I've shown you how to do it. You do your unit rate, so you know it's 18 inches in 12 hours. We want to figure out how many in 1 hour. That's going to be 1.5. Then just go ahead and do another ratio. Put 20 there, and then get 30 inches. Do you guys understand that? So let me explain. So as you can see, here I am just, there's my first proportion, right? Just like that's the first proportion. Here's my second proportion right there, right guys? Yeah. And it's just, I'm just borrowing that one. So see how they overlap each other? So instead of writing this twice, I just wrote it once. That's still the unit rate, that's still the fake, that's still the real. Everybody got that? So when it says that on the test tomorrow, use unit rate to solve, you have to find per one of whatever was given. So in this case, per hour. Okay? Okay, so here we have this question. Now we got Quentin makes the best mac and cheese.
No.
Okay? His recipe serves 32 people. So this recipe that his family has passed down, it calls for 32 people. So if you got 10 people there, you're going to have so many leftovers and it's going to be more expensive to make. You don't want that to be the case. You want to make just enough for the amount of people that you have. That's the whole point. So his recipe calls for 32 people. So let's start filling this in. This is going to be people. Okay? And then this is going to be cheddar cheese. We'll get to that. It calls for 12 bags of cheddar cheese, 8 bags of mozzarella cheese, and it calls for 16 bags of noodles. So we'll just put noodles there. Okay? So we have our labels in there. Now, the fake ratio, just like we learned with the previous question with, whenever, like the Matt given lessons question or whatever it was, any question like that, there's a fake part. Isn't this the fake part, guys? Right here? Isn't the fake part just what we know? So in this case, it's how much heat, it's how much of each ingredient would you use for 32 people? So we know that he needs 12 bags of cheddar cheese, he needs 8 bags of mozzarella, and he needs 16 bags of noodles. Okay? That's his recipe. If you change it, if I all of a sudden say, yeah, I only got 4 bags of mozzarella cheese, is it going to taste the same anymore? No, it's a different recipe. It's not going to be as famous mac and cheese anymore. Okay? So, here's the deal. He's having a party at his house, but he's going to have 24 people, including himself there. So there's 24 of them. He doesn't want to make it for 32. He doesn't want to spend all the money. He only wants to make it for 24 people. He doesn't want any leftovers. So then this is going to be our real information, right, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. I need you all right now to figure out how many, we're not going to put this in our clicker, how much cheddar cheese, how much mozzarella cheese, and how many bags of noodles he's going to need. Here's the catch. This is where you're going to scale. You're always scaling where you know something that was fake and then you knew a real part. And since we know how many people, that's the real part. Okay? Go ahead and try it. Everybody listen? So here we have the situation. It's already laid out for us. We know we're being given all this fake information. We know how much that Quentin's recipe, it'll feed 32 people. We know that he needs 12 bags of cheddar cheese. We know that he needs 8 bags of mozzarella cheese. We know he needs 16 bags of noodles. Okay? The only piece of real information, this is real, this is fake, the only piece of real that we have is that he wants to serve 24 people. So we've got to figure somewhere to scale. Now this is what's kind of like, some of you just kind of want to sit and stare at this step right here and say, let me think here, let me think, and maybe you don't know your math facts as well. What have I been saying you can use all the time?
GCF and LCM.
GCF or your LCM. Okay? And every single one of you in this room knows how to find GCF and LCM. You've been doing it so long now that you can do it. If that's the way you need to do it, that's fine. Or if you get your multiplication chart or your calculator, you can just kind of start thinking about it and say, okay, I know they both have a factor of 4, 2, 6, maybe. No, 32 doesn't have a factor of 6. Just kind of go through and guess and check. Kind of try to just figure one out. But if you have to do this way, it would look like this. 2 times 2 times 3, that's 24. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, that's going to give me, or I need one more 2 there. That's going to give me that, so then I know, okay, my GCF must be what? It's 8. Okay? And that's the one you want to use to help you scale. Okay? So, I know that my GCF then is going to be 8. Now I just got to figure out, okay, I know that 32 people, to serve 32 people, I need this many of each of these ingredients. Correct? So what did I do to my number of people? Because whatever I did to my people, I need to do that to my ingredients so that the actual recipe tastes the same. Yes? I'm going to divide by 4. So if I divided that by 4, wouldn't I do that to the rest of my ingredients also? Yes. That's going to be 3 bags of cheddar cheese, That's going to be 2 bags of mozzarella cheese, and that's going to be 4 bags of noodles. Has everybody got that? Did we really care how much? Do we care how much ingredients we need for 8 people? Does that really concern us at all? No, but we needed that information in order to be able to serve 24 people, because now I can just look at this and say, okay, what am I doing to go from 8 to 24 people? Hello? Times 3. So then if I do that to every one of my ingredients, won't that give me the same tasting recipe that I had right here? So that's going to be 9 bags of cheddar cheese, 6 bags of mozzarella cheese, and 12 bags of noodles. Everybody understand that? Okay. Okay, I could go back here just to show you that it doesn't matter. I could have used a lot of different things. I could have used the 4. Okay, what am I doing to go from 32 to 4? Dividing by 8. Okay, so I would have to divide 12 by 8. What is it? 1.5. Exactly. You can have decimal. Can you pour into, if you were making a mac and cheese, could you pour in 1.5 bags?
Yeah.
Sure you could. You can have decimals. It doesn't matter. This divided by 8 would give you 1. This divided by 8 would give you 2. So this is if it's just Quentin and his 3 friends, so 4 of them. That's all he has to make. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, and then it's times 6, times 6, times 6. You're still going to get the same answers here, regardless. So it really doesn't matter what you scale to, as long as it's a factor or a multiple of both numbers. Okay, this question right here, guys, I'll just quickly go over it, even though everybody got it right in this class. It gives you a fake ratio right there. You must do edge pieces. So when you read it, the ratio of red to total, well, I know that's going to be 5 reds. I know that means there are 12 total. And then remember, if you know a total, you must subtract the 5 reds to find the number of blues. It's going to be 7 of blues. Then it becomes a reading question. What is the ratio of blue to total? Well, you look right up to your edge pieces. Right there it is. 7 to 12. Everybody clear on that?
Yep.
Okay. Now I want you guys to do, I'll show you. I'll erase everything else. You guys are going to do letter D down there. You might want to keep your edge pieces. Sorry. Okay, here we go. The majority of you did a nice job on this. You got 84, which is the correct answer. It's really good. I'm happy about that. Nice job. Okay, now watch here, guys. Again, watch how I go through. Watch my thought process as I work through these. Okay? I always start with a proportion right here. Okay? And everybody be listening. I start with my proportion. Then I look at my real information. Remember, real information usually starts with if, and then it says, if this, then how many of this? That's usually how it starts. So I look and I start underlining important information. It gives me that there are 60 red marbles. So does that pretty much tell me that one of the labels is going to be red marbles? Yes. And then it asks me for blue marbles. Okay? So up here, I'm either going to be given, I'm only going to be worried about 2 of the 3. Okay? Nowhere in here did it talk about total, and yet I had a couple people putting total in the bottom. It didn't say total anywhere. Okay? So we didn't need to. All it did was it gave us blue to red. It doesn't matter whether you had blue on top, red on the bottom, or red on top and blue on the bottom. That doesn't matter when it's part to part. Okay, you with me? Okay, then I look up here. The first ratio always comes from my edge pieces right there. I always get from right there. And I know the ratio of blue to red is going to be 7 to 5. Right, guys? And then I ask myself, what did they give me? They gave me 60 reds. So there we go. We are going to cross multiply and then divide. And we're going to get 84. You're making this 100 million times harder than you have to.
I have a question.
Okay? You don't have to use unit rate unless it says use unit rate to solve.
Does it matter
Okay. Now, we're just going to talk about this top one up here. Okay? So don't even pay attention to the one at the bottom. Matter of fact, I'll just get rid of it. Okay? We've already done this in an earlier video. Okay? So if you're wondering about why I'm erasing it, we've already done it. Okay? Now, on the formative, we had a question that had to deal with Mrs. Teliak's cats. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, on that question, we were adding, she went and she adopted 2 more gray cats and some sort of orange cats, and you had to determine if the ratios were going to be equivalent or not. So everybody watch here. This is the same type of question. Here we have band class. The ratio in the class as we speak right now is 20 girls to 18 boys. 20 what?
We did this yesterday.
We did do this one?
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing it again. To 18 boys. It doesn't matter because it's the understanding of it. If we already did it, I'm sorry. But I know we haven't on the video yet. Okay? We know that it's 20 girls to 18 boys. That is the ratio in band right now. We need to know that if I were to add 4 boys and 2 girls to that class, would I have the same ratio? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to add those boys and those girls in. So if I'm adding 2 girls to the class, how many girls do I have now?
22.
22 girls. If I'm adding 4 boys to the class, how many boys am I going to have?
22.
22 boys. How many different methods do you guys know when it comes to checking to see if ratios are equivalent or not? Yes? You know 3 methods and the little 4th. Remember, number 1, simplify. Number 2, divide. Number 3, cross products. Number 4, which I call it the little 4th, that's where if you can actually tell what you're multiplying by, for instance this, wouldn't I be multiplying by 4, multiplying by 4?
Yeah.
So those would be equal, right? Okay? That one doesn't really help us here. But we can do cross products. Okay? If you did 18 times 22 and 22 times 22, obviously it's going to be something different because they both have 22 in them, right? So that's going to be different. What is it? Why? It is? It's, what are you talking about? This is girls, this is girls. This is boys. Every test is a reading test, Mr. Schneider. Why? I can't. Okay. All right. So, you got to make sure you read it carefully. We got 18 boys with boys. Girls, got to go with girls. Okay? Now, if we did cross products, we would just multiply diagonally. If you get the same product, then they're equal to each other. You could divide them. 20 divided by 18 is going to be 1 point something. I don't know what it is, but it's 1 point something. What's 22 divided by 22? 1, right guys? So are they the same? No, if I were to simplify 22 over 22, I would get 1 over 1. If I were to simplify this, I would get 10 over 9. Are they the same? No. Did you guys get my point? So this would absolutely be no. So just be careful. Tomorrow, all you got to do is add in the boys, add in the girls, and then do the 3 methods for checking for equivalency. Okay?